Hello and welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, go ahead and give us a 5-star review. Thank you so much. Guys, I got a lot of stand-up dates coming up. I'm going to be in Morris Plains, New Jersey this actually December 11th with the comedians of the Compound. That's Aaron Berg, Gino Bisconti, Don Jameson, all the guys you know and love from Compound Media will be there at TIFF's on the 11th. And then the 12th, I'm headlining the Hartford Funny Bone in Hartford, Connecticut. And then the 13th, I'm going to Arkansas headlining the Little Rock Looney Bin on the 13th. And then heading to Dallas, Texas with Anthony Cumia and Aaron Berg. We're going to do some appearances at the Blaze. We're also going to be doing 2 shows at Hyenas in Dallas, December 15th and 16th. Get tickets for those shows. Go to my website, chrissiemayr.com, or you can go to any of the comedy club websites to get tickets. And also, I am taping my first special. My first album is going to be January 6th at Governor's in Levittown. That's going to be Thursday, January 6th. Come on out to that, out on Long Island. That's where I'm from. I want to see a lot of high school people there. It's going to be good, especially if you've gotten in really good shape since high school and you want to sort of showcase. This would be the perfect opportunity for that. Shirts, I have fun shirts for sale on tpublic.com. If you're feeling like a patriotic, we have Make America Great Again. And of course, with Christmas coming by, we have Yourself a Mayor Chrissiemas. I know these are corny, but I love puns. And they come in all colors, so check that out. I also am doing a collaboration with Silk City Hot Sauce. It's called Nightmare. I love it. You can go to the website is levinskytopshelf.com. Check it out. Only $10. You could taste the Chrissie Mayr hot sauce, jalapenos, pear, sweet apple cider, and super hot habanero. This is the Verde sauce that'll awaken your soul. Nightmare. And there's a picture there of me eating somebody's insides. Good times, guys. All right. Without further ado, I'm so excited to have this gal on. I was following her on her Twitter account that was recently suspended, which we're going to get into all of that. I would call her, a little bit of like she's a content creator. She's a little bit of like Twitter fame. I think she's Twitter famous. We're going to get into all things. I'm so used to comedy. I'm like, come into the stage. And I just came from like a porn convention. So I'm switching gears. I'm so excited to have her here. Josie, aka Kween Josie in the house. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Chrissy. I love your puns.
Oh, thank you.
Listening to them.
Somebody appreciates my puns. And look at us.
Very much.
We have matching hair.
Yes.
For the longest time, people have been tagging your account. Well, the one that's you recently lost, and they've been like, Chrissy, we love this girl. We love you. I think it's a lot of people who love redheads and freedom coming together, trying to help make this happen. So thanks to all of them. You were previously going by the redheaded Libertarian. Your account got nuked. You had what? 90,000 followers. Do you want to talk? Because I love talking to people who get censored, and I always love the bullshit reasons why. So I'm interested.
And I wish I had some kind of amazing story for why. Like, I wish I had some sort of badge of honor that I could wear that said I got suspended for, I don't know, calling someone a bad name, or like dragging Joe Biden. Nope, nothing. I just tried to log in one day and it said I couldn't, that I was suspended, but I could appeal. And this is March 5th when this happened. So
wow.
I went through the appeals process, and they're like, okay, well, we'll get back to you in 10 days. And they never got back in 10 days. So I go through the appeal process again. They said, okay, we're going to get back to you in 10 days. Never get back to me. And then like 3 months go by and I get an email saying that I'm permanently suspended. So I wasn't given a reason.
Wow.
In my life, I'd had one music, like I was playing music in the background on a video.
Okay, like a lame copyright.
Yeah, DMCA. I had one.
Everyone has done that. Wow.
In my life, I know I assumed everybody done that. So, well, that wasn't it. I couldn't figure out what it was. But yeah, I think I was just targeted. No idea why, but, lost my page. So in May, I came back and I kind of rebuilt myself into Kween Josie because I wasn't feeling the redheaded libertarian as much anymore. I'm like, I'm going to take this as an opportunity to just rebrand essentially. Yeah. So it's been 6 months. I'm almost to 40,000 again. So, I'm building there again. Yep.
That's actually pretty amazing that you could go from like almost 90K to like in just a few months, 40K. That means that's like a sign that people just love you for you. It's not about that you're called a certain thing.
I love my followers. I absolutely love them. And, when I came back, they were just so supportive. And, it was because I debated. I'm like, do I want to come back?
Oh, no.
Here, like with the climate and stuff, is this something I want to ever go through again, And
it's like a death. I know it sounds so superficial, but you're like, you develop relationships.
It was like taking a bullet, but I'm back. And I have my base group of followers back. I have amazing, like Rob Schneider follows me. I have amazing followers.
Ooh.
And I don't change it for a second. And I appreciate them and love them so much.
Is Rob Schneider your most famous follower?
Most famous follower. Well, Norm Macdonald followed me as well.
Oh my gosh.
So he follows on my new page and on my old page. He really liked pie. Norm did. He liked pie. And
and you really like pie too.
I like pie too.
Baking.
I think that's what ended up doing. He was a big cherry pie fan, and I have an award-winning cherry pie. So
really? No, what award is this?
It's just we have the county fair in my area, and I'm just come back and I win it every year.
That is so precious. What without doxing yourself, like what area are you in?
I'm in Massachusetts.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Interesting. And you born and raised there?
Born and raised. I'm actually looking to move in the spring though, for the first time at my state. Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask, and I'm born and raised New Yorker, and this whole time, I don't know if you've been hearing it living in Massachusetts, this whole year and a half, I've been hearing like friends and collaborators being like, when are you going to move out of New York? Like, it obviously must suck there. I mean, I talk about how much it sucks here. Mm-hmm. So how does it feel? Like, how is COVID, the lockdowns, everything? How has that been in Massachusetts? Because I know with New York, the city is very woke, very locked down, very vax passport, but then the suburbs, Long Island, less so.
Yeah. So I have children, so that's who I put first before anything. It's my kids, always my number one, like any mom. But so Charlie Baker kept us from going the way of, he's a Republican, the governor of Massachusetts. And he kept us from going the way of New York and California, because he is fiscally conservative to an extent. But we didn't go that way during the lockdowns, which was good, and I give him credit for that. However, about a week ago, he announced that they're going to be introducing electronic vax passports. And the next day, he said he wasn't going to be rerunning for governor.
What so that?
Yeah, that's like two bang bang bad things right in a row. And he was like the only thing, because he wasn't gonna do that. He's not even a big fan of masking. He just kind of like did it for the schools and that sort of stuff because the unions are so powerful. But the front runner for governor of Massachusetts, I think, is some woman named Kim, and that's who the Boston Globe endorsed. And her number one priority is vaccinating children.
Oh, that's so scary. And
yeah, and it was just sounding flag, and I'm like, I talked to my husband, and we're like, we got to get out of here. Like, this is it. Like, it's all downhill. Like, there's no one's coming to save us. We got to save ourselves.
How does someone, like, you'd have to lack so much common sense and or be so compromised, like, and or be so in someone else's pocket for you to actually be like, we need to make vaccine kids a priority. They must be getting money from somebody, because like, even it doesn't matter what side you are on politically, even if you've just been conscious the last year and a half, like, we all know the groups of people that COVID is affecting, and kids are not one of them. So to make that such a high priority is so suspect.
Exactly. And, I have a theory about why they're doing it. I think they want to usher in a global passport for everybody.
Oh, yeah. So why else would they be pushing it? Doesn't make sense for what they're claiming. It's clearly not about COVID.
Definitely not about health and safety.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
it's a way to just track everybody and,
exactly. And then eventually come to one global government and have everybody tracked under the one global government.
Yeah. And the younger they can get you into the system, the better.
Exactly. And everybody's going to get the same passport. It's not going to be different in Sweden and different from, anywhere else. So, yeah.
Yeah, I heard you did a show with, I think it was Clint and James Lindsay.
Yeah.
Everyone's been sharing. It's been blowing up. It was a great episode. And
such an honor.
You guys mentioned, yeah, you're just like, I feel like, because I've had James Lindsay on, and I feel like I could have just turned off the camera at certain points, gotten a water, because he can just talk, and he's so fascinating.
Oh my gosh. I'm so impressed by him, and I was just listening, and we were supposed to only talk for an hour, and we ended up going for almost 2 hours.
Wow.
All three of us, and nobody really even realized it, because it was such an engaging topic. And James Lindsay is so bright, and then Clint has this gift for doing podcasts and for leading them and organizing them, and it was just like, I'm still wired from it. It was just such an amazing opportunity and experience.
And you both asked James such good questions, and you brought up this idea of even certain countries that were not very masky, lockdowny, passporty are all of a sudden coming out this way, which is just very suspect and scary. And this idea of some sort of a deadline to get everybody, digitally synced or digitally passported up. I don't know. Oh, you could go down such a YouTube unfriendly rabbit hole for sure, but it's good to have these conversations. And I think even if you're not conspiracy minded, the average person is realizing that this is about control and not about health and safety.
Exactly. And it's hard. I live in Massachusetts, so I'm kind of surrounded by people who are not aware of this, like how I am, and it's hard to see it. And really, people are like, "What do you mean you're not going to get your children vaccinated?" And I'm like,
oh.
I'm not in it. My children are fully vaccinated. I'm like, and I support you if you want to get it done. I totally support you. I don't know enough about this. It's not a deactivated virus that they're putting into my kids, and that's the kind of stuff that they've never put it into any child in the history of humanity. So our children, as they grow up, are going to be the test subjects, so my children are in the control group. So we're gonna stay in the control group right now.
Yeah, isn't having a control group an important part of having an experiment, which is what this is? So
how they're trying to shrink it, and as they're trying to shrink it, they're coming up with stuff like, oh, heart attacks in children are totally normal. Didn't you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Children totally normal. It's like, why are the strokes in children only happening in the vaccinated children? They're not happening in the unvaccinated ones.
Yeah, I never in my whole life have heard about kids getting strokes until pretty recently.
Exactly.
And of course, even before this, within the parenting and mom communities, they'll pressure you for not giving your kids organic food. So I can't imagine, as a mother, the pressure that you are getting from these other kind of, I hate calling them brainwashed people, or just unaware parents thinking
very judgy,
equating it with being a good parent when it's oof, no, you're just literally looking out. You're
exactly
just asking questions.
Cloth diapers,
yeah, you don't wash your own diapers by hand. Them up, reuse them, throw them in there.
Exactly. It's hard, being around judgy moms, so I try to surround myself with moms who are just like me, moms who aren't going to judge each other, and moms who are going to, make similar decisions and raise their children similarly. And, I'm going to be friends with them. Yeah. And it's going to be friends. And
I heard about this concept called micro schooling, where it's a step up from homeschooling. It's where a few families in the area decide we're all going to homeschool our kids. And then they kind of pick, okay, we're going to all have the kids at this one house these days, and then this house, and then these parents have tutors come in. And I think that sounds pretty good. It's doing homeschooling and then have special tutors for the shit I wouldn't be able to handle, calculus or any kind of math and science. I feel I'd be send in the tutors,
I actually, for my kids, looked into the Ron Paul homeschooling program. It's all accredited, and it's all set up, and kids by second grade are being able to be self-sufficient with it. So I'm well, that's what, I'll end up doing if I can't find them a good charter or a good private school, for sure. I have done the homeschooling thing, and it's hard because I work from home too, to be able to do the homeschooling and do the work from home. Right now my kids are in a building And it's only because they really needed to be with other children after the lockdown. So we agreed to 1 year in a building.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was horrible. Did you notice signs from them that they were not taking it well?
My heart. My oldest daughter, she actually has the 1 in a million condition called CRMO, chronic recurrent multifocal osteomyelitis. And what this is essentially is her immune system breaks her bones. So she was diagnosed with this in August of 2019. And that hit her hard. She's 10, diagnosed with this terrible disease at 10, lockdowns 4 months later, or 5 months later. This kid just didn't have time to process anything. It broke my heart. So she was, and then at the same time being like a preteen, going through that crap, so it broke my heart with her. My middle child,
really tough.
The little one is really resilient, but you could tell she just needed more structure, and friends. And it was tough, like seeing them decline in other places. But then at the same time, I stopped working. So I had a year home with my kids, and I found out my youngest child is gifted in math.
Oh, wow.
I wouldn't have, that wouldn't have gotten picked up at a school, I really doubtful it could have, but it wouldn't, I picked it up because she sat there and she's doing math, like multiplication at 4 years old. And I'm like, hold on a minute. So I was able to see that and, do something about it. As a parent that, was kind of just going with the flow before, my daughter got sick. And so there's been a lot of big changes, and some of them have been bad, a lot of them, but some of them, if you try to find the silver lining, it's you're able to look for it. And that's kind of the way we have to live through this.
Yes, you have to be grateful for what you have. I'm thinking your kid that's really good at math, just slide over your taxes. Be like, why don't you play this?
I know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my daughters will if they want to do something online, one of them will play with their friends in an online game. And the other one, she'll talk to her friends in an online game. And this one's just wants to watch educational videos.
That's cute.
I'm like, okay, cool, but yeah, it was something that I was able to really find out. And, maybe she'll be doing my taxes next year if I'm lucky.
That would be great. I would love that. This is a super chat from Matthew Hammond. I am just disappointed you two are not making and baking pies while doing the interview. We do not deserve Figaro. Oh, is that your cat?
Oh, yeah, he's right here.
Aww. Hello, Boos. Oh my goodness, you're so cute.
He is. He's huge. He's oversized. You can't tell right now because
does he walk in front of the computer a lot? Because I've seen cats do that, when their parents are doing podcasts.
Oh my goodness, he's like a dog in that he more likes to be with me and follows me around. He's so he'll sit with me and stuff. But if I'm not giving him enough attention and he's not sleeping like this, he'll get right up and
Does he do the thing where he paws, knocks something off a counter?
Sometimes he's more, he's never uses his claws or anything. He'll boop you if you do something that he doesn't like. He'll just yeah, he's very sweet, very good natured. He's a Norwegian forest cat. They're a cousin of the Maine Coon.
Wow.
So nice, happy, domestic, calm kind of personality. Which I'm
not asking to run around a forest in a way or anything like that. Okay. So that's good. From Matthew Hammond again, thank you for the super chat. Josie needs to invest in some serious sunblock moving to the south. This is coming from a melanin deficient person who has lived here my whole life.
Yes.
Are you looking in the south? Are you?
Yeah, we're looking at South Carolina and Florida are 2 finalists right now.
Those are both winners. I know people that are moving to both places. So
wonderful people who just live in both places, and I'm just like, God, and you come from the north and everybody's really stiff and really
cold. I think it's because we have winter and we're sick of buying winter coats and shoveling our snow that we just get stiff.
Yeah, and we're just, kind of not as friendly and, not a lot of eye contact. But you go down the south, they're like, hi, how are you? And it's just really a warm, welcoming environment. And, I'm like, I could like that. I could get used to that.
Yeah. You're not you don't get some sort of prize for being tough and thinking everyone's about to break into your car. I feel like that's how New York has sort of groomed me. It's interesting that you mentioned Ron Paul and that he was kind of central to your identifying at one point, heavily as a libertarian. What drew you to him? I guess, how older were you, or at what point did you kind of, discover him, and what kind of fired you up about his beliefs?
Sure. Well, I went through a transitional period like everybody, I think. I was super liberal in high school.
Yeah, me too.
Like climate change, LGBTQ,
Oh,
very
everything.
involved with everything, absolutely. And I am still, but to a logical level. I'm not like fanatic about it like I was. 9/11 happened, and I went hard right, like patriotic, American flags, I bleed red, white, and blue.
Like, we got to get whoever did this
We
to
gotta
us. Yeah.
hard right. And I was, high school when that happened, so it's really impressionable. Voted for Barack Obama in 2008. Because I really still wasn't quite identifying as something, because I didn't really fit anything. But then after Barack Obama, between 2008 and 2012, I felt homeless. Like I didn't fit anywhere. I had friends that were still super patriotic, and I had friends that were still super liberal, and I saw each of them going further and further to their places, and I was still kind of stuck here, like, what am I doing? And then I found the revolution. I found Ron Paul, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I'm looking for. This is exactly who I am. And I found somebody that kind of encapsulated just all of that, and I've just been a fan ever since.
And then, so of course you discover him, you're like, that's how I felt. Like, I attribute Larry Sharpe calls it gold pilling, when you like, he sort of pried me away from being a liberal into being like, oh, a libertarian, like, this is totally me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Socially very liberal, all the things, maybe like financially or fiscally more conservative. And then, just kind of more common sense. And I'd be like, oh wow, I'm a libertarian now. And I'm sure you went through this period where you're like, okay, I found my people, I found my group.
Yep.
Really identify with them. And then what was it that made you sort of back away and go, okay, I'm not going to just throw all my eggs in this basket. I'm going to not really subscribe to just one group.
With the label, after I found Ron Paul and got like the label of libertarian.
Yes. Yeah.
The other libertarians.
Oh, really? Did you feel like it was like an all or nothing, or a little bit harsh?
The purity of it. Because I don't believe I believe that there are two sides to every story. I believe I can find arguments to debate abortion. I can find arguments to debate border, and I have hard feelings for both of those, but I can see both sides. And I believe that there are libertarian sides of stuff that, like, I could see how somebody could see that there is a libertarian side to something that I don't see it as libertarian. So, and I didn't like that all or nothing. I didn't like the club feeling of it. I didn't like the mean girls. I didn't like, the smug, righteous guys. I didn't like it. It didn't feel, and I mean, what's more opposite than individual liberty and property rights than being in a group of people that are all like-minded? Libertarianism is supposed to be a flowing conversation, and it just had completely, just fell away from the Ron Paul roots. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna start my own party.
Yeah. Kind of like Josie party.
This is the Josie party now, Josie and Figaro.
That's upsetting to hear, because especially at a time where, like, being a leftist or a liberal, it takes seemingly very little to get kicked out of that group, and those bonds seem so tight and stiff, and like, well, if you believe in 2A, well, we're kicking you out. And you would think, like, not that libertarians are a newer party, but you would think a party that's trying to gain more ground and more, like, followers, they would be a little bit more like open-minded and forgiving.
I feel like I saw the LP kind of pander to the left, with some of the stuff like Jo Jorgensen, some of her tweets. And I know now that they were by staffers, but
did she come out as pro BLM? That blew my mind. I was
yeah. It's not enough to be to not be racist. You must be actively anti-racist, and that's lingo from BLM.
Yeah,
that's Marxism. And I don't. I mean,
I remember. Yeah, I was that kind of. I was gonna like interview her. I mean, I still might, but I was disappointed to see that. So.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh boy. And that was kind of the thing where I'm like, at least this doesn't represent me. Nick Sarwark didn't represent me. There's, Vora, God, the vice chair, something Vora.
Okay.
Can't remember his first name now. He didn't represent me. He had said something about age of consent that I didn't agree with. So I was
Young,
really,
like, was he for like slightly too young? Okay.
for like no age of consent or something like.
No.
Yeah,
Oh no.
I used the law for it because there's pedos.
Ah, boy. Yeah,
I
that
believe the rule of the government is to enforce human rights, or civil rights, or, to enforce our natural rights is the role of the government, to enforce the Constitution. That was their role in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Kids have that too, and they can't consent to stuff like that. So, it's like the government has very few rules, and protecting kids is one of them. And, we're not seeing that really anywhere right now. Government seems to hate kids, to tell you the truth, but I didn't like seeing it out of the Libertarian Party at all.
they just want to like, yeah. Well, the younger you are, the easier you are to manipulate, which is how the whole idea of like a student, not a student protest, but a student sort of like revolution. You guys were talking about that with James Lindsay a little bit, like, because you're the most impressionable you're ever going to be in high school and college. And that's what I kind of.
They're trying to start them younger and younger in like kindergarten. I was talking about gender pronouns, and like they have this thing called like the pronoun reindeer or something like that. And it's essentially a stuffed reindeer. And it's like, are you going to ask me my pronouns? And it's like, what do you think they are? And, kids will be like, he, him, she, her. And then like, oh, you just assumed my pronouns. And it's
God.
They, them is the pronouns, right?
What did the Jewish kids think of using a reindeer? I mean, what were they thinking?
I know. It's like, that's offensive, but stuff like that. And it's all to infiltrate the kids. And I was talking about with James and Clint about how they use colors too. Like, and what's a kindergartner? If they're going to put a color with a gender, what's a kindergartner going to choose? Are they going to choose their boring gray and white gender? Or are they going to choose the pink and the purple and the yellow genders?
Oh boy. Oh my God. That's so
stuff like that. And it's socio-emotional learning and stuff like that they're putting into the schools, which is worrisome because, we've all seen, if you're looking at it, what they call all the stuff that makes America is whiteness. Okay. And they want to decentralize whiteness. All the stuff that they got rid of in communist China before they became the CCP was all whiteness. They got rid of it. It's all the same stuff, and they just labeled it in a way that sounded racist. But
except for Hollywood or anything that they can financially benefit from.
Family, traditions, holidays. This is all stuff that they uprooted from the to install the CCP. This is all stuff they want to uproot to create whatever, like this, some kind of Marxist, communist, cultural, whatever revolution in America. They have to uproot the same stuff. That's
right. If you weaken the foundation, then it's much easier for the government to be your daddy.
Exactly. And, like they've done it with different communities, with the poor, with minorities, and they've found ways to weaken their family structure. And now they're working on doing it with everyone,
Wow. I agree with you on because I was talking to a libertarian. I forget her name. Someone will probably say it in the chat. Maybe like just the other week or something. And she was, I think running for office, some office. Maybe, was it Martha Bueno? Maybe. And we're talking about like drugs because de Blasio is opening these like free, clean shooting centers, like places you can go and shoot up. And I just was like, I just don't think that's a good idea. I think that's encouraging. Like, teenagers are probably going to end up here, trying to avoid their parents. It's like, it's like not like, we should be focusing on like, I don't know, maybe more therapy or like get it so that these people are not resorting to drugs, not just be like, well, if you're going to drink in the house. It's like, no, you should talk to your kids about like why you shouldn't turn to drinking as a means of escape or like, responsible use. But I mean, I guess you can argue like they're being responsible by doing it at a place where they're being looked after. But I just didn't like that. Like, well, legalize all the drugs. I'm like, I don't think that's a great idea.
No, there's because it comes from a place of personal responsibility. Like if we're going to legalize all the drugs, you have to be personally responsible for it. And a lot of people can do that. A lot of people cannot do that. They cannot self-regulate. I mean, look at America, like we're all fat. you know, like we can't self-regulate. We can't, like, we're very spoiled, you know. So we have those centers all over Massachusetts too, the safe injection
Oh, wow.
everywhere. Yep. Yeah, they put those in. And I mean, no one's thinking about like the people's kids who are doing, like, able to do this. No one's thinking about those kids. Those are the victims here, you know, like
Right.
mommy's
Would you want
injected.
your kid to be able to go to a safe injection site, like just to get away from you and
Yeah,
do it?
exactly. They'll be like, well, mom does it and it's okay. So, you know, and that's part of like the family. One of the things that they want to take down with whatever this is the family. So how are they going to separate? How are they going to destroy the family? You know, drugs. It's a big way.
Exactly. Don't do whatever it is at home with your family. Like, don't have your family help you get you through your addiction. Oh no, come and do it here. The government, again, we're gonna be your new
Government.
daddy. Come to this free shooting site.
Exactly.
Ugh. Why can't everyone listen to us, Josie?
I don't know.
Crash Vada says, come to Florida, Josie. We welcome you and your family. All right, that's one vote for Florida.
Oh, I'm gonna take stock here.
Matthew Hammond again. Can we get Sam the Butcher into the BBQ competitions?
He's a really good griller. Sam the Butcher is my husband.
Oh, is he like an internet personality?
Not really. No,
No.
he's barely on there. But when he comes on, he really packs a punch. He'll say like one thing, and it'll be hilarious, and everybody will love it.
Ooh, I like that.
Yep. Right.
From Young Pei Chang. Hi, Chrissy. Hi, Josie. Josie, did you know that Chrissy doesn't need to sleep? But that's a rumor. I do need to sleep. Oh my goodness. Okay. So let me see. Let me go to my things here.
Sleep. I love sleep.
I love sleep too. I don't know if it's an old person thing, but I can't wait to go to bed.
Oh yeah, I love sleep. I just think about it some days, like halfway through my day, I'm like, wow, I just can't wait to lay down and just sleep.
Yeah.
With it too. My brain's always working.
I used to just fall asleep in whatever or like nothing or what. Now I'm really into like, all right, well, let's up my pajama game. Like I need to get new pajamas. I need to get like, especially now that it's getting colder, I need to get the black and red, like plaid looking pajamas. Like I need to.
Yes. TJ Maxx has the fluffiest pajamas in the world. I just went.
Really? TJ Maxx is a highly dangerous zone for me because I go in and I go, everything's cheap. And I leave with like an armful of shit I don't need.
Yeah, I definitely have one credit card and that's it. And I definitely went there and took out a TJ Maxx credit card, which was super irresponsible. But I paid it off and stuff. But still, it was
okay.
They're
check out my credit cards now. Let's all do that after this podcast, guys. Okay. Matthew Hammond, did you see the interview with the Libs of TikTok Twitter gal on Fox News? She was brave to not change her voice on the interview. Oh no, I didn't see that.
Something. And I remember last year there was a woman yelling into a camera about people they warned you about. And I thought I saw that again. And I'm like, wait a minute, was that like her making fun of Libs or like? And that's all that I saw. And I was like, I'm gonna rewatch this so I can see what this is. But yeah, there was a video and people like put it to like metal music and stuff, this yelling that this person did.
Wow. That's awesome. I love Libs of TikTok.
Yeah, I don't know if they're the same person or not, or if that was just like a preface for it, but it was definitely.
Yeah, I knew it was. I was surprised to find out it was a girl.
I saw that she posted, I'm a girl, right? Or something like that, like a couple weeks ago. And I was kind of shocked to see that.
That's good though. Good for them. It's like, I always feel like humor is such an easy way to get to people to like gently change their mind or gently open their mind. No one likes to be told they're wrong or they're stupid. And you have to have patience because you don't know what people are. They could just be unconsciously like, realizing, oh, I eat nothing but fast food. I just unconsciously, I didn't know better. It's like, okay. So it's like, just assume a lot of people don't know any better. They're not trying to be.
That's the best way to think about it. They're not trying to be malicious.
Yeah.
Like, assume ignorance over malice. That's like, try to use that. I try.
When we talk about like a lot of people are afraid, oh, we don't want to end up like, like Australia, like now Austria, all these countries that are sort of marching to the sort of like globalist parade. I don't know what to even call it. Like they're just joining the ranks of the Great Reset. And you mentioned in your conversation with James and Clint, you're like, look, like, the thing that's keeping America from turning this way is really the Bill of Rights. So I was wondering if could you explain a little bit how the Bill of Rights is like saving all of our asses right now?
So the Bill of Rights is the law of the land. Okay, so that's all the courts abide by it, like, well, most of the courts, except for the ones with the activist judges, but the courts abide by it. And as the courts work their way up, from the state into the federal courts, and then go through the levels, they get to SCOTUS. And SCOTUS, thank God, has a constitutional SCOTUS heavyweight on it right now. So it's going to have, hopefully, a constitutional result. So Bill of Rights, we have the First Amendment, we have the free speech, and we have the Second Amendment, we have the guns, we have the quartering of the soldiers, search and seizure, we have all the court stuff. Then we have the Ninth Amendment, which is my favorite, which is, if we don't mention it, it's still covered, is essentially what the Ninth Amendment is. Like,
what? I've never even heard of the Ninth Amendment.
Yeah, exactly. This is my favorite amendment, and it just does not get the credit it needs. It essentially, everything that they said, everything that they made a law, an amendment for after the Bill of Rights could have just been done under the Ninth Amendment. It's essentially saying, we're not going to articulate this, but if it's a human right, it counts, So
wow.
Women could have voted under the Ninth Amendment.
No way.
Abolished under the Ninth Amendment. And in Wyoming, women did vote under the Ninth Amendment. So, the Ninth Amendment's amazing. But it's the 10th Amendment that is going to save America, because that is states' rights. And the government can come down with any sort of crap they want, and the state has the right to say no. And that's what we're seeing Ron DeSantis doing.
Yeah, like a bad bitch. He's crushing it. I know people who have moved to Florida just for him.
He's honestly like my number one reason. I don't like the weather. I don't want muggy and alligators and
really. Okay, yeah. Keep your kids inside.
Yeah.
Don't leave them. Don't put a lot of alligator treats on them. Keep them in.
I want that, but I love Ron. That's the kind of that's the kind of person that I want to be in charge of my state. It's somebody who isn't gonna let the federal government, hurt his people. Essentially, it's like, you stay away. I'm gonna build a militia against you. And that's the kind of zero FUCKS person that I want running things.
I appreciate you not cursing. You can definitely curse if you want, but you're a lady. You're a classy lady, Josie.
I'm a classy lady, and I'm a mom. And
oh yes, of course. Yeah, that helps too. Before there were kids around me in my life, I cursed a lot more. But that's interesting about the Ninth Amendment. Do we then run into problems of who gets to decide what is a human right and what isn't?
Anything that doesn't mean another human has to do it for you. So healthcare is not a human right. It's a positive right as opposed to a negative right, because it's something
I see.
Really nice. Schooling, education, somebody has to do that for you. It's not a human right, but then you come to things like self-defense. That's a human right. You have the right to not be tortured by your government. That's a human right.
Wow.
Yep.
That's a really good, easy way to put it. Like, if someone else has to do it for you, then it's not a human right. Like, it's nice. I mean, yeah, I would love if somebody would take me to an island vacation every year, but then that requires someone else.
Exactly. It requires somebody else. If you can do it within yourself, it's a human right. Yep.
The human right is I could take myself there because I don't need anybody else to do that. Right? Is that a good example? I don't know. I just really need a vacation.
Right, too. Natural right, but sometimes also human right and civil right, because human rights and civil rights are natural rights. Those are all natural rights, but they break them up almost for a level of privilege, because they're all natural. You're born with these rights. Your human rights you're born with your civil rights, so there's no reason to call them different things. They're all natural rights,
Yeah.
But yeah, I jump between. I'm never differentiating when I say human right or civil right. It's all a natural right to me.
Yeah. Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's a civil right. That doesn't sound as good. And now what we're seeing with the mandates, I feel like they're sort of crumbling a bit, although I'm worried at the power of the private corporations' ability to intimidate. Well, they've already intimidated and coerced a fair amount of people to get the jab. But now it's come out that I think the courts turned down that they're trying to get federal contractors now they no longer need to get it because that sort of fell through. Because what you were saying in these, a lot of this is sort of breaking apart in the courts. But can you explain that a little bit? Because it's why are corporations like, why are they able to get away with so much coercion when it is falling apart in the courts?
Rights. They have certain rights as a business that the government can't infringe on. So you can go work for a business, and if they say you can't work here unless you get vaccinated, that's their decision and their private company, and blah blah blah, whatever. We're seeing a lot of that, and that's the excuse. Oh well, they're a private company, but a lot of these private companies are subsidized by the government. A lot of them, we're going to see are probably going to get tax breaks for this. So they're being propped up by the government, and if you need the government to help you exist, you're probably not a private company, and you should stop using that line. Like, just own that you're a tyrant, like, don't tell me you're
it's like the people whose parents pay their rent. It's like, stop calling yourself an adult. All right.
Exactly. You're not an adult. You're not even a renter. Your mom is.
Ugh. No, have a little bit of respect.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's like that veil of independence, and really it's like, yeah, you're being propped up by the government, you're doing their bidding.
Yep.
That's how they get a lot of that. That's why they get more control and overreach than they should have.
Yeah, and I think a lot of these corporate people were promised a seat at the head of the table in the New World Order, and so that's why they're like, okay, well, I'll comply.
Right.
They're finding a lot of their people are not replaceable. There's shortages now. We see it in the supply chain. We see it in hospitals, and they screwed up. But we're seeing places that are like eager to drop it too, like Disney. Disney dropped their mandate.
Really?
Yeah, Disney did. I mean, that's Florida. And then Ron DeSantis protected a health agency, and then they're like, oh, we'll just drop our mandate too. One of the big health providers down in Florida dropped it.
Wow.
So people, when they don't feel like, they'll do it as long as the federal government says they have to, but when their governor says you don't have to do that, not everybody keeps doing it.
Yeah, I was seeing this was Josh from Break the Cycle. He tweeted out, tomorrow we were supposed to be walked out of the building if we were not vaxxed at work. Everyone in my department said today would be our last day if that was the case, and then the mandate has been retracted. Resist at all costs. So it is exciting to see that human beings are less replaceable than maybe they thought they were at their jobs. And I think we really started to see this with a lot of the pilot sort of sick flu or freedom flu, whatever they were getting. A couple
the freedom flu.
That was very exciting for me to see. I was like, okay, wow, like maybe
people know their power, like the truck drivers know their power. They know, they're like, well, we're just going to stop little. They're lifting the mandate or things like that. What was making me infuriated about this, which was really too much for me, was they were not letting people get religious exemptions. They were letting you file it, but it had to be approved, and they just were Xing everything, like not approving any religious exemptions. I mean,
wow.
That's Hasidic Jews aren't vaccinated. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't vaccinated.
Catholics, yeah, because of the fetal cells, yeah.
Exactly. So they were, and they were refusing these. So they're putting, these like abused minorities out of work, over something that is literally against their religion. So that was really tough to watch happen too.
Yeah, that's heartbreaking. Again, it's like they're breaking up the families, breaking up your religion, like the things that like kind of make you whole.
Yeah, not be able to. Yep, that's the plan. You can't work, you can't support yourself. You're going to have to depend on the government. But then what's the next step too? Like, oh, you can't get welfare without your shot.
Or your chip or whatever. Yeah.
I agree. Yep. That's where it's going. So you have to figure out a way to be self-sustainable and not need to depend on them, because it's going to get very ugly, and we have to get to red states, and we have to find a place that's safe for us and safe for our children,
and building your own, like what you're doing, like, and like what I'm doing too, like finding your, building your communities. It's like, I have friends from the internet I've never even met or like seen in person, like closer, that I've been with, people my whole life, friends and family I've known my whole life. It's like, no, people I've met in the last 2 years. I feel like we vibe and get each other, and I feel more support from them. So
actually, I'm like, I think I found my tribe. I found people, and you know, and they're all over the place and they feel exactly the way I do about things.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love the internet. Jay, thank you for the super chat. I'm not sure what CHF means. Maybe it means cheese, hamburger. No, I have no idea what CHF. Thank you for the 50 of whatever denomination this is. Classical liberal for me is a philosophy also the state, as small as possible, as big as necessary, laws, as few as possible, as much as necessary. The same when it comes to morally gray stuff like violence or lying, as much as necessary, as less as possible.
I think Dave Rubin identifies as a classic liberal, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I'm pretty sure that that's what he said, that he identifies as that. And it's another, you know, libertarian is a spectrum, and it goes from anarchy to constitutionalism, and classic liberal falls on there.
Okay. Ooh, I like saying like I'm a Rubinist or I'm like Rubenesque, which used to mean just
as long as it's not Jennifer Rubin.
From Young Pei Ching. Did you guys catch Kyle Rittenhouse on Elijah and Sydney's show last night? Chrissy, when are you coming back? Josie, when are you going to be in too? We did. Yeah, I did just watch this. I am going to be back on the Blaze next week. I'm going to be in Dallas doing those shows at Hyenas. So I'm going to pop on the Blaze with Anthony Cumia and Aaron Berg. And we did watch that. And this was a point I wanted to bring up with you, Josie. So Kyle went on You Are Here, which is Elijah Schaefer and Sydney Watson's show on the Blaze. And actually Elijah Schaefer met Kyle in Kenosha because Kyle was there as like an independent journalist, like, you know, recording what was going on. They like met, they bumped into each other, and he asked him about his gun or something. And then he went on his way. And then like everything that happened. And then so now Kyle, fresh off this acquittal, goes on this show, and it's like, it's a low-key podcast. It's like they're obviously serious and well-read and smart people, but it's fun. They're having fun. They're being light. And I have seen some criticism that Kyle should not be going on these shows. He should not be, you know, who knows, he might say something that his lawyers wouldn't, I don't know, approve of, or he could say something that would get him into more trouble. He should lay low. He should not be out there. But on the other hand, I feel like he's a young kid. He's still only 18. You know, he had to bring an emotional support animal on the show. Like he brought his dog with him. So clearly, I think anything he can do to get his mind off of this trauma, the better. What are your feelings on it? Do you feel like he should be laying low right now, or do you feel like let him live?
First of all, just God bless Kyle. Like, oh
yeah.
God, like I'm just, as a mom, just watching what he went through, his mother, like, oh God, it just was tearing my heart out.
Yeah, I was crying a lot.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm like getting like teared up even thinking about what he had to go through and what people, like, they wanted to see this child burned at the stake, and it just, oh God, just broke me. Kyle is free. Kyle just went through an unimaginable hell. Kyle processed the hell he was going through. Now he has to process his freedom. And however Kyle wants to process his freedom, that, you know, is approved for by his lawyers, because God knows they want to do federal crap on him now because they are evil people. So as long as it's, you know, he doesn't say any, as long as what he says is approved by his lawyer, until the federal threats blow over. Who was doing that short ASS hole?
Was it Binky? What the heck's his name? The kind of gay guy, the sort of, right? The Mr. Flubber 2004. What was that guy?
Who is he?
You guys know.
They know who I'm talking about. He's like a munchkin from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. This guy is so short, and he came out and he's like, we're gonna investigate him federally. It's like, oh my God, leave this kid alone.
Oh, Blinken. Was it Blinken?
No. What the hell is his name? Oh my God.
Binger. Was it Binger?
No, it's a congressman.
Oh, congressman. Okay, I was thinking of
No, I was thinking, yeah, Binger, like
the attorney. Yeah,
that guy better never have a job again. They better look through every case he's ever prosecuted now at this point.
Jerry Nadler.
Yes, that's who I'm thinking of. Thank you.
Coconut.
Yes.
Thanks, guys. I always love the chat. Always knows the answer.
Yeah, I call them my mental strokes. Like I have that. I was like, I forgot the name of Jefferson Davis. Like I'm in the middle of going on the spiel, and I'm like, oh my God, who was the guy who was president of the South? Like, what was his name? And totally just blanked it, you know? Like
Jerry Nadler. I've heard his name a few times, always connected with something embarrassing that he said.
Because that was all California and New York senators that did the impeachment. So they had the big like walk with the impeachment and showing, like we're gonna delivering the impeachment articles and all that.
Oh God, I remember Nancy with her freaking pens. She would sign like one letter with one pen, and she had all this box of pens that she signed Trump's impeachment with. Like, get over yourself, girl. Like,
but Kyle, he can process his freedom however he needs to process his freedom, and that is okay with me. He was locked up for 88 days behind bars. Like,
yeah, a couple months before the trial.
He better sue the hell out of everybody like that did this to him. Like
that he can, yeah.
Everybody he can, because what happened to him, I don't even have words for it. It was enraging.
Yeah, I know. I got so emotional, like when they were reading the verdict and like watching him just like collapse, and I was like, I don't know, I could feel it. Like I'm super empathetic. Like
I'm empathic too.
I was like,
my heart was just like beating really hard, and just I hated, because that's what they want to do to everybody, and they wanted to hang him high even though there was nothing there. Like they just forced it.
Yeah, they want to make an example out of him.
They sainted the guys who
yes, they couldn't have been worse guys. Like, come on,
people, and they were just sainted by the media as if like they were saints, and they were hurting him. Like, yeah. I didn't realize he was actually physically beaten by one of them with the skateboard. I didn't know that happened until the testimony. And you think how much stuff that happened during the testimony that we just wouldn't know about if it wasn't live streamed.
Yep.
All secondhand from the media.
Oh yeah. And they want to paint the story that suits their narrative. Yeah. And it was like, I don't know if you caught any of like Nick Rakita's live streams, but they at times were getting more views than, PBS stream on YouTube. And that was really exciting because that was a panel full of lawyers, like real people, instead of like the mainstream media, which is compromised, as we know. So
yes, it's sad and it's scary to see how far everything has fallen. I talked about that a little bit on the podcast last night too, about the NDAA of 2012.
What's that?
So the National Defense Authorization Act is how they are able to sneak their tyranny in and just have it like passed in a bill. Essentially, it's the defense bill. So in 2012, Barack Obama put in some legislation into there that we're seeing today. So one of the things that he put in there was ending the Propaganda Act. So
right.
Yep. So that's where and if you think about it, the Propaganda Act of 2012, like that's when the shit hit the fan. That's when, Ferguson, like, the
race wars really kicked up.
Started. Yep. Yeah. And you could see the propaganda in the media. And I remember the first time I saw it and I was like, what am I watching? Like this isn't.
Well, I didn't even notice it at the time. Like I was still.
Yeah, he did that. He also, he can lock people up forever. And he can lock people up forever. This is chilling. He can lock people up forever if they protest in a way that violates a government process. They can be locked up forever.
What is even an example of that?
J6 protesters.
Oh God, right. Shout out to J6. I was there. I was smart. I didn't go inside.
Oh, thank God.
My haters are like, you were shitting on Pelosi's desk, you insurrectionist. I'm like, relax. I was outside with a camera, like live streaming.
I mean, the things that they're doing to those people. Oh, I gotta plug my phone in. Sorry. The things that they're doing to those people are. I mean, one of the guy that with the horns,
oh yeah, the QAnon shaman,
schizophrenic. And they locked him up for 4 years for literally sitting in Nancy's chair. That's what he did. He sat in Nancy's chair. And the guards and everything, like you can see it. They had a very polite.
Yeah, they were friendly to him. They all let it happen.
To them, they were friendly to him. They didn't tell him he couldn't do it. He sat in the chair, and that's what he did. He's in jail for 4 years for being a schizophrenic who sat in Nancy Pelosi's chair. He did not do anything that was malicious. Anything. I mean, even if it's parading, which is. Like what they're charging everybody. Nobody's charged with insurrection. They're charged with parading.
Wow.
Parading carries 1 year at max per the law. Parading. Yep. And
wow. That's really crazy. Of course, they wanted to make an example out of him because he was so visible.
Yep, he was visible, and they made him like the mascot, essentially. So
yes, of course, they made like a Lego set out of him, or maybe that was a spoof. But I was like, oh, I gotta buy that. It was like Podium Man. I don't know. I wonder if Podium Man got a similar sentence.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he did actually, and they made him like repent. Essentially, he had to like repent on top of it, but he did get 4 years as well. They just went through his. A lot of these people are finding people to represent them.
Wow, it's really sad. It's like it was like the perfect storm. It was like, I can't believe we like freaking fell for it, but I don't know.
There were people there in good intentions, and there were people there who were not. They were there to create this, and it's just happened.
Absolutely. And there's so many firsthand account of witnessing people that don't quite fit in, that are not acting like how actual patriots and MAGA, all these groups that were there, the Oath Keepers, like they, I was talking to Nick Searcy, who he released a documentary about January 6th on Thanksgiving. You guys should absolutely watch it if you haven't yet. I think it's called Capital Punishment. And he talks to all these people that their firsthand accounts of people who were there were like, we could see these people acting kind of erratically. And obviously those people are feds or Antifa. I mean,
well, there was a lot of them that were, sorry, I'm just grabbing my charger. There were a lot of them that were like trying to get them to go into the building. Like,
yes, instigate, yeah.
Carefully how it's going to happen. And people weren't really, like, some people weren't buying it. You could see them all chanting "Fed" at one point.
Yeah.
So sorry. I thought it was
okay
the whole time, and it wasn't. Yeah, so some of them were chanting "Fed," like when one guy tried to do it, and then the rest of them were just kind of buying it.
Oh yeah, and there were folks who they saw somebody like passing up a sledgehammer to the front of a group of people, and then that person just handed the who brings a sledgehammer to a protest, to a rally? Like that's not a normal thing. And then they gave the sledgehammer to one of the cops, or just pulled it away from people. And there were many instances where they actually stopped people being violent or breaking stuff. Not being violent, but like breaking.
The videos that they got with them breaking through the windows, and they were all dressed in black and stuff, like those were feds.
Yeah.
So they really needed this to happen, and we're seeing a lot of the marches, and they're all infiltrated in the marches too. Like, these all genuine people, and they're trying so hard to pull us off sides again, and everybody's like mindful of it though now. Like, anytime you see fit guys in sunglasses at these things, you're like, Fed.
Yeah. I forget who it was who tweeted it, but it was like the latest whatever march. They called it, I don't know, like something Patriots, and it's all these guys that are in great shape wearing khakis that look all pretty uniform. And I was like, that doesn't represent this country.
Yeah. James said like you couldn't fit one. You guys couldn't find one fat guy. You couldn't find one fat guy to put in there. Like, come on. And then they're all masked, like with the mask to protect their faces from the COVID.
Which who has those? They look like T-shirts like pulled up over there. They're very particular looking.
They're military. Yeah, it's everything about. They're all marching in order. That you could tell they've all been trained. But then when they make fun of, conservatives, they're all fat and out of shape and this and that. But then when they mimic them, they make them look like military. They make them fat.
They're like, all we need is who has a camouflage pants, who's got cargo shorts, who has khakis. Jake Lesba, you should have Nick Fuentes on. He's quite the proponent of women's rights. I heard he's not really.
Yeah.
Trying to be people have kept recommending him. I would, I guess. I've
been deplatformed in other places. Maybe they're trying to get. That could be it.
Okay.
Or anything. So.
I like to talk to the deplatformed. Okay, from Young Pay. No, keep the glasses on. We need more glasses, girls. Oh, somebody likes your glasses.
But they make my ring light show.
Okay. Aw. From Matthew Hammond, why have more people not apologized to Alex Jones? Because that's what the left does. Mm-hmm. They double down. They don't admit when they're wrong.
apologize though, and then when you apologize, they hold it against you forever and ever,
Yeah.
and it becomes a stain. They stain you.
Yeah, you don't ever want to look like you were wrong about somebody or something, because it's like, oh, if you were wrong about Alex Jones and you admit to it, so like, what else are you wrong about? And people don't want to put it out there like, yeah, I'm not really credible. I jumped the gun on this guy. And did you notice Alec and Hilaria Baldwin have protected their Twitter accounts?
Did they take them down or protect them? I'd heard
they're
that.
protected.
That sounds like they're being investigated, is what it sounds like.
You think? I thought it was because I was tweeting at him, and I was like, uh-oh, I guess he's sick of my tweeting at him. Yes, no. Alec Baldwin deletes Twitter account. Oh, he deleted his account? See, I went to look him up. Alec Baldwin is
got screenshots. I mean, if you were to plug in Alec Baldwin and gun, I mean, there's some creepy stuff in there.
What, you mean the memes?
No, like if you were to search his account, like go to advanced search and search his account for the word like gun or shoot or stuff like that, it was like really like uncomfortable stuff that was coming up. Like,
interesting.
I don't know, like, and especially seeing what he did now, you know, it was just it's kind of all sinister in hindsight.
Okay, wow. Yeah, because he joked about it a lot. I heard that he was like sort of jokingly pointing the gun at a bunch of people, and like, you know, they had taken it off site and they were shooting, I don't know, something somewhere. Yeah, his tweets are protected as of today.
Yeah, he's trying to say that she asked him to shoot him. It's like, oh my God, like, where is your lawyer?
What? Oh, but then he also never pulled the trigger, which is his new story that he's.
Oh yeah. So she asked him to shoot him, which he did, but he didn't pull the trigger. You know, like, are you listening to yourself, Alec?
Yeah, Alec, that's interesting though, that you think that he's being investigated, and that's why.
I would think like, if you lawyer up and you the first thing your lawyer says is no tweets, and if he's lawyered up like this hard, then I'm thinking he's being investigated, or they're actually going to do something about it. But
wow. Yeah, there was a video of a guy who was like on the street and was like, Alec, did you really do it? Like, you know, just kind of heckling him a little bit. And like, I keep forgetting that it's hilarious because I'm like, oh, what is this like babysitter doing in view? You know, oh, that's hilarious. You know, she's like,
yeah, she like her accent for years and years and years.
Yeah, she'll like come in front of the camera. She'll be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, and it's like you're from Boston, like.
Ugh. Oh boy, yeah. It's just funny because he's an actor. He's like that's his job. He's a professional. So it's like, oh no, he needs to do his own separate interview. What was that with George Stephanopoulos? I don't know if it's come out yet, but I saw the teaser. Like it's him just sobbing. Like,
oh god, that's what he does.
Yeah,
you know, he's a professional pretender. Of course, he's going to be good at it.
And I was talking to Bill Cannon, who was a retired NYPD, I think like he worked in Manhattan under like the homicide unit. And he was like, oh, because I watched it with him when it came out. He's like, oh, he's full of shit. Like he's lying. Like you take somebody's firsthand account of what happened as soon as it happens. Because that's usually when it's true. It's like when they've had time to tweak their story and talk to their lawyers, that's when and that's exactly. And that's why you see, didn't like one of the guys involved in the Rittenhouse trial, you saw him on mainstream media on like some show. And that's what they do. They try to get a different narrative out there.
Yeah.
On these shows.
Gage Gross
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. It was him. And he just got on the stand and just incriminated himself. He lost that case for them on the stand. But then all the stuff that came out, like he tried to sue the city of Kenosha for $10 million, you know,
what?
Like all the stuff that came out, and he was completely honest. He didn't lie under oath or anything. He just said yes sir,
right,
the whole time. All the crap on him, and then he went on Good Morning America or whatever, and
that's what it was. It was Good Morning America.
Oh, I live in fear every day, and like, oh my god, like just shut up. You know,
sure you do.
Because a lot of those people didn't watch the trial. They're going to watch their mainstream
person. And then I think, oh man, is that what I am becoming on a smaller level? Like the shit that I'm not informed on. People are just no, don't take my word for anything. Everyone knows I'm a comedian. All right, cool. I'm exempt. Perfect. Yeah, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with Alec.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of sketchy. He was definitely part of the mainstream media effort to, paint Trump a certain way.
Yep. I mean, he literally was Trump.
Yeah. Yes. He's literally Trump. Oh, I forgot to do one of my shout outs. Guys, if you struggle with anxiety like I do, check out Cushy Dreams. They specialize in high quality CBD bud and pre-rolls. I really like the pre-rolls because of their portability. They have different indica sativa blends like energy, peace, dream, relax, create, hustle. So whatever you want to do with your day, be a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more alert. Cushy Dreams has a strain for you. They are constantly doing lab tests to ensure compliance and purity. You can see the results on their website, cushydreams.com, KUSHY dreams.com. Join the men and women who are sick of vapes and gummies and want to smoke their CBD. At the checkout, use promo code CMP to get 20% off and I believe free shipping. So check it out, guys. Their stuff has really helped me with my anxiety over the last couple of years. And I think it ships to all 50 states. Exciting. Yeah, may your dreams come true. This should be my new t-shirt idea for my pun t-shirt collection. May your dreams come true. And maybe there'll be like a unicorn, clouds. These are the things I think of. Okay, here's another one from Matthew. Elijah had Nick Fuentes on his show. Oh, on Slightly Offensive. Many misconceptions were cleared up during their discussion. More Figaro. All right, maybe I will have Nick.
There he is.
Oh, Figaro.
He's awake.
Oh, that's so cute.
I'm having so much trouble getting my phone to charge.
Oh no. Well, it's okay. We're wrapping up. I know we got to deal. It took me a minute to get my microphone.
Oh no, I've had so much fun talking.
You're a blast, Josie.
I like you.
I like you too. Let's be friends.
Yeah, we're friends now.
Okay, good. Other than following you on Twitter at your new rebranded Twitter account, Kween Josie, that's KWEEN JOSIE, and subscribe to your YouTube channel. Where else can people follow you?
That's really it. I mean, I have an IG account that's public. I think it's Kween Josie too. But I don't post any politics on there. It's all just wholesome stuff, all the extra stuff. So I post a lot of Figaro on there.
I like wholesome. I'm assuming you're a make your own crust kind of gal.
Yes, 100%. Crisco crust is the way to go.
Crisco, really? Yeah. I've been doing butter, water, flour, salt.
Yeah. So it's Crisco is the way to go because it's savory. You can do savory or sweet with it. And the trick is that you add a little extra water and a little extra Crisco. And that's how you get them to look beautiful.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we might have to trade recipes because I've been using this butter crust one. Just eating butter, having fun. I like to make an apple pie and I do a blueberry one in the summer. That's really good. So I
love making pies. I make a pretty crust. That's my thing. That's my.
I can't do a pretty crust. Maybe that's why I need Crisco in my life because
that might do it because it's more flaky when you use butter, and flaky can break apart a little more easily than the Crisco can. So that's a little
happening.
I have a tutorial on my YouTube channel about how to make roses for your crust.
Oh my God, I'm going to watch that immediately. Okay. Because what I would do, my last apartment, I had no counter space. So I would just line the floor with wax paper and then I would roll out the crust. I mean, this is sounding not appetizing, but I would just roll out the crust on the floor.
I appreciate it.
Floor pies.
I know this.
You got to make your own crusts. I know people think, oh, I'll just buy one. It's not the same. Yeah. Exactly. I got to make crust flowers with Josie.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming on. You're such a delight and fun and easy to talk to.
Thank you for having me.
Redheads forever.
Yeah, we're like kindred spirits, I think, there, Chrissy.
Let's get a friendship necklace.
We need a handshake or something.
Yeah, like a high five. God, if you're listening to this on audio, you're missing out on all this
Here we go.
Cringy.
Okay, I gotta go this way. Here we go.
Yeah. Yes. Oh my God.
You did it.
Kween Josie, thanks for coming on the program. Thank you guys for your chats and questions and comments. Until next time, guys, we'll see you later. Bye.